So for me now, I'm flipping full time. I think sort of going back just a little bit, I jumped around a little bit getting into real estate investing. I saw shiny object syndromes everywhere I went. I was balancing the world as a scientist full time and then learning about all these different investing strategies. So like I was doing flipping. I got into multifamily. Me and some other investors bought a 16 unit, and that made sense at the time. Not so much now. I just recently bought another rental, and I was all over the place. And I think what I realized was I needed to stop chasing all of these different investment strategies, right? You can make money doing anything. Just if you can pour into one for a long enough period of time, it'll do really well. And I realized for me that was flipping. But for me to take flipping seriously, I needed to be full time. I think for me to scale this business into what it is now and then where I'm going, I had to leave the career as a scientist, which came with so many freaking hurdles. I could start an entire podcast on just leaving because it wasn't just a career change, it was an identity change, right? Everybody knew me as a scientist. And so walking away from that was just such a mental like hurdle for me. But when I figured out that I was mostly in corporate America, not necessarily pushing my passion anymore, that helped. And I went through 2022 the same as all of us when interest rates rose. My brother and I, we're now in this business. We're flipping houses. I'm still full-time scientist, part-time fix and flipper. He's now full-time in the business, right? So he got a little shammed, right? I brought him in full-time and I'm still half-time in. Interest rates rose. We lost some money on a couple flips, but importantly, we learned a lot of things that we did wrong. And we're like, man, we took a step back, looked at our business model, and we figured if we could improve on these few pieces, and if I came full-time to this business, we could take off. And that's exactly what we did. So 2022 came to a close.
Real quick, just give us an idea what those pieces are.
Yeah. So we bought all the wrong houses, man. Like we were just chasing a deal that we could flip and make money. There was nothing else on the back end of that. We were like, if we could do it and be successful, that was great. Now we realized, okay, we lost some money flipping houses. For example, we bought a couple properties on major roads. That is a really hard selling point when you're flipping a house, especially when you're new and you don't know what you're doing, right? There are a lot of people who can be successful at that. But for us, we were picking properties on major roads because they were cheap, right? And we didn't realize they were cheap.
Like, why are these houses?
Right.
Exactly.
It's a great neighborhood.
The numbers pencil theoretically until we go to resell these properties and nobody wants a house on a major road. That's a great example, but there's so many things that we learned along those lines. We're like, okay, if we just implement these lessons, don't do these mistakes again, and stick to something that was comfortable. We were also at the time flipping all over Phoenix, which we didn't know Phoenix that well, even though we were born here. We didn't know these different markets. So we were like, let's dial back. Let's go into the zip codes we know really well, which is like 85032, right? North Phoenix and surrounding zip codes. Like we could probably flip in that area really well because we know it like the back of our hands. And that's what we did. So the last 10 houses we flipped have all been in that area.
That's a great area. It's probably hard to find houses over there.
It is. Yeah, it is. And that's a new challenge for me as deal flow because we're trying to stay in an area that we know really well, but it's hard to find a good deal in that area.
Got it.
So once we did that, we took a step back. We reassessed the business model. We came into 2023 with a business plan. We were like, all right, we want to flip 8 houses this year at an average of $25,000 profit per flip. And there's a lot of reasons why that was the calculation and a lot of data that went into where we wanted to be this year and in 3 years and in 10 years. And that was just sort of reverse engineering where we needed to be in 10 years, how we could get there this year. And we freaking crushed it, man.
Awesome.
We're on our 9th flip right now. We've implemented some of the systems that we were planning on doing. And the business is going really well. This is a hard freaking time to flip. I'll tell you what. We're learning a lot of lessons still along the way, but that's kind of the goal right now is to continue flipping, continue scaling. We want to do 12 this year, 25 next year, and then eventually, in 3-4 years, get to maybe 30, 40 a year.
So what are some of the things, like you said, when you first started, everyone was riding the wave. Now interest rates have gone up, but still low supply. There's still buyers out there, right?